Next month will be 5 years that I've been coming to see Dr. Ryan, and my 2 daughters as well, and my wife too. And he's right, I came in. As a matter of fact, at the time, there were 3 chiropractors in this shopping center. So I actually asked his wife, I said, of the 3 chiropractors in the shopping center, why is Dr. Ryan the best one? And she wanted to explain to me about, Dr. Ryan's about, all about education, informing, getting you to, enlighten yourself, do your research and whatnot. And I said, well, that sounds good. I had prior chiropractic experience back in the 80s when I too was a crazy young man, had a motorcycle accident, and dislocated my shoulder, and chiropractor helped me out back in the 80s. And once I felt like I was fixed, I stopped going. So that was the first mistake. About 8 years ago, my younger daughter was born. I thought she was going to fall off the bed. She was leaning over, so me thinking I was Superman, I ran to go save her, and I slipped and smacked my side on a coffee table, and I ended up bruising some cartilage in my ribs. And for 3 years, I couldn't stretch, I couldn't move, I just didn't have full function. My general practitioner said, and this is one thing that I just detest about any kind of medical practitioner telling you, is that you're just going to have to live with it. I said, no, that's not acceptable. I'm not going to have to live. I'm going to find something, to help me. And that's when I came in, lived right down the street, and my girls and I were here, and we walked in. And so we made an appointment, came in, and Dr. Ryan was right. I kind of said, have a seat. And we're going to have an interview here. I'm going to interview you. I want to know why, I should make you part of my healthcare team. I have a dentist, I have a general practitioner, and when need be, I have a therapist sometimes, and I said, why Dr. Ryan Pilsner, and he went on to explain to me about, his philosophy on life and his philosophy about health. And by the way, side note, my little brother's a chiropractor, so he specializes in upper cervical, so it's a lot different. But I said, well, let's give it a shot, and it was pretty intense at first. When I think I came every day. After checked my X-rays out, and he said, I think it's a biomechanical thing. Your ribs are out of place, and this and that. And I said, wow, yeah, let's do that. Let's get it going. So there we go. We get it going, and within a couple months, it didn't hurt anymore. I could move, I could stretch, I could breathe. I was like, wow, And rather than quitting like I did way back when, I said, I'm going to keep going. And I have 2 daughters, 13-year-old and a 9-year-old now. And they've been coming since they were little. And my wife comes here too. We come once a week. We've taught the girls that don't just sit back and wait for something to happen. Go out and, help yourself. The girls, it's funny, my little one just told me last week, she said, Dad, I don't know how it is that these kids on the playground can fall down and then not go get adjusted. And I was like, because they're not enlightened, sweetie. Why don't you just tell them that a chiropractor could help them? We happen to know one. He's right up the street. I teach part-time down there at their school down at Ridgeview Classical here, so I'm there quite a bit. And lo and behold, a few months after I started, feeling better from my chest, I ended up in the ER. I had emergent, surgery. I had some, like a gallstone was in my bile duct. I turned yellow, if you can imagine that. I was in bad shape, so boom, doctor, pull the gallbladder, he says. I said, all right, well, you're the doctor, and I'd only been coming to Dr. Ryan for a few months, and so they did. I had to stay at Poudre Valley there for a couple of days, and I called Dr. Ryan and said, hey, I won't make my appointment. I'm in the hospital. I had my gallbladder taken out, and I'm laid up for a couple of days, and I'll never forget. It was awesome. He said, well, you want me to come down and adjust you? I said, you would come down to the hospital and adjust me? He said, yeah. I said, boy, I really need it because, bless her heart, the surgeon, she's very good at being a surgeon, but somehow they hyperventilated or hyperextended my neck, when they were intubating me, and I woke up with a numb arm. My left arm was numb. I couldn't feel it. And I told the doctor, the surgeon, hey, my left arm doesn't work. It's numb. And she says, well, we didn't touch your arm. I said, hey, don't you know that every single part of your body is touched by nerves that come through a little hole like this in your neck, and And she goes, yeah, but I said, you should know that, right? And I said, you know, I'll be out in a day. So the first thing I did when I got out, I came saw Dr. Ryan. He adjusted me real gently, and it took several months to get the feeling back in my arm. You know, they really messed up my, I think what, C6, 7, is it? Yeah. So anyway, we've been coming ever since. You know, I was just tired, you know, of living, you know, just pain-free enough to get along, but not quite being where you want it to be, you know. You know, Henry David Thoreau has a saying that goes, most men live lives of quiet desperation. So you're just happy enough to not do anything, but you're not nearly as happy as you could be or want to be. So even there was times in the last 5 years where you know, money was kind of tight, and you know, insurance says if you're not done within 20 visits, you know, we're done with you. You know, so you know, we said we don't want to quit. Maybe we'll just go every other week. You know, but we don't want to stop. I said, my whole family coming here and paying, you know, every month is a lot cheaper than, you know, doctor's visits. You know, so we still keep coming. My girls, same thing with my daughters. My older one, they said her dropped arches. You know, she's going to have to not walk that much, just the way it's going to be. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, she couldn't walk very far because she has really dropped arches. We got her in here. Dr. Ryan adjusts her feet. She can walk now a lot better. Walks further. They don't hurt. Obviously, you know, she has to wear arch supports and whatnot. But you know, again, the doctor said you're just going to have to live with it. So I said, no, we're not going to have to live with it. I said, you know, I got a guy. I know a guy. So you know, so here we are. You know, 5 years later. We're still coming. We plan on coming for the rest of our lives. I'm all for the medical profession, medical doctors and whatnot, but they have their place. And you know, healthcare is not one of them. You know, they treat symptoms, and that's all I've ever found. If I'm ever in an accident or emergency, great. But as far as healthcare, it's sick care, like we talked about before here. You know, they treat the symptoms. They just keep treating the symptoms, keep treating the symptoms. And you know, I said, you know, I'd rather be more proactive than reactive, because reactive, you know, didn't get me anywhere. Just ended up in the, you know, in the ER. So anyway, that's about my story, I guess. You know, I thank God that we found Dr. Ryan, and you know, we get to come in here every week and you know, get adjusted, meet his great staff, and talk to them. And you know, he encourages us to do our own research, do our own you know, finding out, you know, do our own legwork. You know, gives us our homework and he expects us to do it. And if we don't, we know we're going to pay the price, because he can tell. I asked his wife once after I found out it was his wife. By the way, I'll tell you how I found out it was she was his wife. He was doing a presentation once, and I just thought she was you know, one of the gals that worked in the office here, and he was playing with the mouse, and I was talking to him, and she just walked right up to him and snatched it out of his hand. And I said, "That's your wife, isn't it?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Only a wife would do that." I said, so anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, I guess. Yeah, well, thank you.